President Biden chooses the location for Space Command, and a new poll on Americans' confidence in the military. All of that and more today, August 2nd, 2023. Good morning, early birds. I'm Zamone Perez, and this is the Early Bird Brief, produced by Defense News and Military Times. First up, to infinity and Colorado. Yes, that's where President Joe Biden decided U.S. Space Command should be headquartered. He decided to overturn a last-ditch effort by the Trump administration to move it to Alabama and ended months of politically fueled debate on the subject. Officials said Space Command leader General James Dickinson convinced Biden that moving headquarters would jeopardize military readiness. That view, though, was in contrast to Air Force leadership, who studied the issue at length. Air Force leadership determined that relocating to Huntsville, Alabama was the right move. Colorado Springs is home to the Air Force Academy, where Space Force Guardians currently graduate. More than 24 military space missions, which include 3 Space Force bases, are also located in Colorado Springs. But here's the thing. The Government Accountability Office said Huntsville scored higher than Colorado Springs when it assessed potential locations. It is home to some of the earliest missiles used in the United States, its space programs, and is home to the Army's Space and Missile Defense Command. Pentagon officials said that nothing about the decision was politically charged, and Colorado would least impact military readiness.
So I will tell you, politics played no role in this decision. As we've talked about for some time, the Department of the Air Force did a has been doing a very thorough analysis and assessment for some time. And so as you look back at this, it was a very thorough, deliberate process that was backed up by data and analysis and in compliance with federal law and DoD policy. And so ultimately, a decision had to be made, recommendations were provided, and the president made a decision. And that decision came down to operational readiness. U.S. Space Command will be fully operational capable this month.
Here's why it matters. Biden's decision enraged Alabama lawmakers and is expected to fuel accusations that abortion politics played a role in the decision. The debate over location has got entangled into the standoff between Republican Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville and the Defense Department. Tuberville opposes a new department policy that pays for travel for troops seeking reproductive health care. The football coach turned senator has now blocked hundreds of civilian and uniformed Pentagon nominations with no end in sight. Tuberville told local news station WAAY TV 31 News in Alabama that the decision was political and Alabama remains the best choice for the HQ.
We all know we're the best place for Space Command. Huntsville is by far the best place. And you got to remember, too, Space Command controls everything that goes into space from any of the other branches of the military. And this administration has blocked Space Command from really being already should have been built in Huntsville, thriving, but we're still living on borrowed time and in a borrowed place to have Space Command. It's a shame that we get politics in the military.
House Armed Services Committee Chairman Mike Rogers, who's also from Alabama, agreed with Tuberville and said in a statement that the, quote, fight for the future home of Space Command is, quote, far from over. Another important story, the leader of Army Futures Command says the Army is working on a new conventional fire strategy expected by the end of this year. General James Rainey said in an exclusive interview with Defense News that the Army did a deliberate strategic fire study that underpins the long-range precision fires effort. Rainey said the time has come for analysis that can inform both the artillery strategy based on what's happening in Ukraine, as well as what U.S. Army Pacific needs in terms of conventional fires. The Army has sent large amounts of artillery to aid Ukraine. That includes 155mm howitzers, 105mm howitzers, several million artillery rounds, and high-mobility artillery rocket systems. The general said the strategy will determine both capability and capacity of what exists and what the Army may need in the future. It will also consider new technology to enhance conventional fires already on the battlefield. That would include advances in propellant that make it possible for mid-range cannons to shoot as far as longer-range systems. In other news, the U.S. military is targeting deepfakes and misinformation with an AI-powered tool. For more on this, C4ISR net reporter Colin Demarest joins the episode today. So, Colin, what can you tell us about the program Data Robot that is part of the CyberQuest trials at Fort Gordon in Georgia, and what does it do?
So, the Data Robot tool that was tested at Fort Gordon last month can scan social media and other open source information streams and kind of pick out or ID misleading or artificial content, spam that comes from bots, for example, or astroturfing efforts. So far, it's been tested at CyberQuest in Georgia and at the Pacific Sentry exercise in Hawaii. Eventually, it could be plugged into the Army's command post computing environment to give commanders a real-time snapshot of public sentiment or something like that in the region they're working in.
What are folks saying about why a tool like this is so important in this environment?
This sort of tool is really focused on giving the U.S. military what it calls an information advantage, or the ability to see, hear, and understand more than its enemy or enemies can. It also plays into the field of information warfare, being able to persuade and deceive people before, during, and after battles. CyberQuest is all about examining up-and-coming tech to inform future investments, and according to Major General Paul Stanton, the leader of the Army's Cyber Center of Excellence, AI and machine learning played a big part this year. Last I checked, the Pentagon was juggling more than 600 AI-related projects, including several tied to major weapon systems, and the Army is leading the way in terms of sheer volume with at least 232.
Thanks, Colin. For more conversations like that one, please like and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Also on the radar for today, a new poll shows that the American public has the lowest confidence in the U.S. military in 25 years. The latest numbers come from a June Gallup poll that revealed only 60% of Americans have confidence in the military. It follows a persistent dip over the last 5 years. It was 1997 when Americans' confidence in the military was last that low. Its all-time low came in 1981 on the heels of the Iran hostage crisis. Despite the decline, the military remains near the top of the list of American institutions that have a great deal of trust from the American people. Public perception of the armed forces has also dramatically fluctuated over the last few decades. The military saw significant upticks in confidence in the aftermaths of the Gulf War and 9/11. On the other hand, other periods like the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan saw large drops. When divided across political ideology, Republicans remain most likely to express confidence in the military. That rate has declined by more than 20 points since 2020, however. Independents, though, have less confidence than Democrats do in the military. A separate survey last year from another group, though, found that both Republicans and Democrats say perceived politicization plays a role in their low trust in the military. And now, here are some other stories that we're hearing chirps about. A military child beat huge odds to be chosen as the 2023 Gerber baby. A Pentagon official tasked with implementing the National Defense Strategy called on China to open crisis communication channels with the U.S. as Beijing continues to expand its nuclear arsenal. A group of White House intelligence advisors recommended this week that the FBI should stop using a U.S. spy database of foreigners' emails and other communications for investigating crimes that aren't related to national security. And Military.com is reporting that more Republican governors are deploying National Guard troops to the Texas border. And on this day in history, in 1990, Iraq invaded neighboring Kuwait, which kicked off the Gulf War. That's it for us this morning. To get more top stories and breaking news, go to defensenews.com/EBB to subscribe to the Early Bird Brief newsletter. Please give us a like, rating, and a comment wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on social media at @defense_news and @Military Times. The Early Bird Brief is hosted and produced by me, Zamone Z. Perez. Today's episode features stories by the Associated Press, Courtney Albon, Jen Judson, Colin Demarest, and Jonathan Lehrfeld. Our editor-in-chief is Mike Gruss. Have a great day.